All right, let's get rolling. We're going to start with our first inductee here tonight. And of course, I don't think he needs a whole lot of induction, although some of the kids remembered him more for his role in the Mighty Ducks than his time on the ice. But that is also a fun conversation to have and also part of it. But an amazing part of not the St. Louis Blues history, but St. Louis amateur hockey history from all different levels, from the boys' side of things, from the girls' side of things as well. And it was really cool when the Columbus Blue Jackets were in town last year. And that was when it was told to him and presented to him during an interview that he would be inducted into the St. Louis Amateur Hockey Hall of Fame. Let's welcome home Basil McRae.
Gordon Bombay, remember me?
I do.
First of all I can say is wow. I had absolutely no idea that this was so big. And to walk in the memorabilia room and just to walk around and see the Rainbow Rockets and the Afton Americans and the history in St. Louis hockey, amateur hockey is pretty amazing and something for everyone here to be very proud of. And I didn't write that down because I had no idea. Especially as a player, you're so focused on playing. I was saying to Joey, and then all of a sudden you get involved in youth hockey, and again, you're so focused. But the history, and I see so many people here tonight, it's really amazing. I want to start off by thanking Scott Rupp. Sent me all these emails and texts, and my wife kept saying, you got to respond to these, you got to get this stuff in, and I see Helen Carey rolling her eyes. She was my manager. Yes, Helen, I know. I haven't changed much. But Scott, again, thank you very much. Yourself and this committee has done an amazing job, and like I said, again, I had absolutely no idea how big this was. So thank you very much to the committee and Scott, and it's a real honor to be here tonight. I also want to take time to congratulate. I know everyone in this room tonight is a St. Louis Blue fan, a St. Louis Blue alumni, or an employee of the St. Louis Blues, and it was a great run. It was a great playoff. It was, to me, this year's playoffs was so good for hockey. It was great for hockey. There wasn't a bad series, and the only thing that would have been better if the Columbus Blue Jackets would have played in the finals against the Blues. That would have been better. So I did go out for dinner last night with Al and Rob, and of course Al went to pick up the bill, and Rob and I tried to stop him. My wife kicked me and said, his playoff bonus is a lot bigger than your playoff bonus. So Al might have the brunch tomorrow too. But I'd also at this point like to congratulate the other inductees. I do not know Mike, John, or Walter, and I know Walter's grandson is here on his behalf. And same as Mike has his friend speaking, and I met John, but congratulations, you guys. I do know some of the inductees. I know it was great to see Joey Vitale, and Joey, what a great career you had. Awesome. And I have beside Joey CBC, and you CBC guys / Afton guys, and I have to just tell the story that my son was not a school guy, not at all. My daughter, went to, Wild Horse Elementary. We did not go to private schools, never heard of it coming from Canada. Philip was not a student, and all of a sudden in 8th grade he came home, he goes, Dad, I'm going to CBC. I'm going, you're what? And I have to tell you, it was, and he'll tell you to this day, it was the greatest year of school and of hockey he ever had. And I think he learned how to drink that year too. But congratulations, Joey. And actually, Joey and I, first time I've talked to Sam in a long time, and last time I talked to Sam, I said, this school thing's overrated, Sam. Maybe Joey should come up to London and play for London Knights. But Northeastern did you pretty well there, Joey, so I tried. Also like to congratulate Jim Giason. And someone said to me, do you know Jim? And I said, yeah, he came to training camp, 93, 94, Jimmy? 94, 95. And all I remember is he was so fast, I really don't remember him. And Chaser just reminded me, he goes, yeah, he was the guy that was so fast, but he really didn't know what to do once he got there. So I got a chance to play with Jimmy in alumni hockey, and he's still fast. But the guy that could really play was his brother, Steve. I preferred to play with Steve because Steve was slow like me, but Steve could make a play. Jimmy still thought he was going to get that bonus if he scored in alumni hockey. But congratulations, Jimmy, and to you also. Went to St. Lawrence, a St. Lawrence graduate, and our daughter Abby went to St. Lawrence. So they're still talking about you and those great teams in the 90s in St. Lawrence, Jimmy. The last person is Sean. I know Sean Hazelton. Sean and I, we actually butted heads a little bit at first. You know, him being an Afton guy and me Chesterfield. And yeah, believe it or not, I know Sean's personality, but we kind of had a merger and a real agreement. And I got to tell you, Al and I were talking about it the other night. One of the funnest coaching experiences I had was with, I want to say Bud Staggy, but I think his name is Nelson, or what's Bud's name? Erwin Staggy. So Erwin Staggy, Al, and myself took a bunch of midget players up to the prospects tournament, and Sean was instrumental in telling us really, because a lot of them were his junior B and his midget Central States kids, and so Sean and I got on the same page, and we kind of buried that Chesterfield Afton hatchet. So congratulations, Sean. One other thing I'd like to talk about tonight is, first of all, thank you, the alumni, for coming here. That's really, it's so important to me to see you guys, and we have a brotherhood, and it's unbelievable. And I know tonight is a big night too for somewhat of an alumnius. I don't even know if that's a word, alumnius. Joey, you went to college. Is that a word? No?
He doesn't know.
He doesn't know?
He doesn't know.
Yeah. Northeastern, right? Northeastern. CBC Northeastern, figure it out. But there's Lieutenant Mike Caruso, who's been on the St. Louis Police Department for 42 years. Mike also worked all the games right back when it was the Checker Dome, the arena, and he's retired after 42 years. And I know the alumni, I know you guys tonight are doing double duty, and you have to go to Mike's function. And please do so. Wish him the best of luck from myself. Keep him good. I know he saved us alumni guys a lot, probably a lot more than the current Blues. They're pretty straight, eh, Curbs? Yeah, totally straight. Yeah, they make a lot of money, but they didn't have the fun we had. But again, I'd like to tip my hat to Mike Caruso for 42 years, and also I think they called it a shout out to Jim Mayer. So if you see Jim there, I know he would have been here tonight, but Jim also is with the NHL security, and again, being a hockey player, you know, we like those security police guys. So. On behalf of all of us in here, the alumni, wish Mike and Jim good luck. Okay. It's funny, my wife said, you're either going to be really organized or you're just going to, like, wing it. So I'm kind of in between because, again, I walked into that room and now I'm speaking from my heart. I seen people and it was unbelievable. The memories come back. And I could have just sat in there and had Stellas and talked to everyone all night. It was great. Right from when Scotty Welch sprinted in, and I don't know if you know Scotty, he got his beer and then went for the chicken wings, and there was no wings, so then Scotty and I got to talk. But yeah, thanks. He's waiting for dessert. He's saying, speed up. But, you know, I want to talk about how this all started for me as far as youth hockey. In 94 lockout, and I want to make sure I don't forget anyone, but Jill said to me, you know, we got to sign Philip up for hockey. He was 4 years old. And we had to go to the Marquette High School to sign up. And I'm like getting ready for training camp. We had this guy called Mike Keenan coaching the team. I was shitting my pants. Chaser was going to kill him. We hadn't even started yet. So I go to Marquette, and who recruits me but a guy by the name of Mike Cullen. And he says, you know, this is great. We're starting this organization. There's going to be a lockout, so, you know, we'll get you on the ice. And I'm like, yeah. You know, I'm focused. I got training camp. So we did have the lockout. So Mike recruited me then to start helping out to learn to play. And then from there, really my background started at Chesterfield Hockey. And at this point, I mean, there was the founding fathers was Mike Cullen, Howard Chappell, Bernie Federko, Bill Kirshner, Diana Schafferin, who's here tonight, Pat Dolan. And there was one guy I just want to dedicate tonight on my behalf, is a guy by the name of Kendall Dirk. And Kendall Dirk, yeah, a lot of guys here. Kendall Dirk was one of those guys I thought, okay, this is hockey. And Kendall was this little guy, and he walked around before they had these little thin surface computers. And he had this great big briefcase, and he had this huge computer, like a Get Smart computer. But Chesterfield Hockey was the second biggest organization in the nation at the time at 750 kids. And Kendall had this thing called Excel, which I had no idea what Excel was, with the registration, the 3 rinks, the logs, and he was the guys. And today, I always said that, coaching and getting this award, that was fun for me. It was the guys like Kendall Dirk that did all the work and had the ice times and the birth certificates and worked with MOAM. And I apologize to all you here, Larry. Elwig, I know you're here. Sue Cooper, I don't know if you're here. Sorry for being a pain in the ass all those years. Kendall would say to me, settle down. We have to, this is the way we have to do it. But, I'd like to dedicate my being inducted to Kendall because he was a real inspiration. He was always calm and cool, never flew off the handle, always smiling. And, unfortunately, he was in a car accident. And we dedicated that year our team, and we had this briefcase on our sweater with KD. So I tried to find that, and I couldn't find it. But to all the Kendall Dirks, and when I think of Kendall, I think if he was here today, he'd be making a lot of money as a capologist. He was really ahead of his time. So to Chesterfield Hockey, Mike Cullen, and of course then Mike talked me onto the board and this and that, and who walks in today is Mike Cullen. I'm like, Mike, get away from me. But I'd like to again, thank the Chesterfield, that board, and Mike, and dedicate this to Kendall. There's so many people, I could sit up here, and I know I got 5 minutes, and Scott said...
You've only been going for 3, you're good.
Am I good? Okay. Well, the other thing was Scott Rupp is this big guy, and he said 5 minutes, but someone told me that Scott was a very skilled player, but never hit anyone, and wasn't, so guess what, Scott? Scott said that himself. He says, I'm just not a physical guy. I know, you got Chief. Chief is fast, too. So there's so many people to thank, but when I got here tonight, I thought about the locomotives, like Tony Sansone, who started that. And Pat, I know you're big on that. There was the STL Elite, and again, I'm trying to remember, like the Bud Staggies, the Jeff Lukens, the Don Morehouses, the Larry Sandersons. It's endless. And then I see all the people from mid-states. And again, I want to tell the Jose, you gave my son probably his funnest year of hockey at CBC. And the Jose family is huge in St. Louis, and I know you guys never played in the NHL, but you are St. Louis hockey, the Jose family. Okay, so I really didn't know what type of speech to have. So my son-in-law said, they're all on YouTube. So who do I pull up but Cam Janssens? And I'm thinking... Well, I can't be Cam Janssens. There's no way. But I thought, we should have a little bit of fun here. So I got about 3 quick stories that have to do with youth hockey. And the first one, I'll call it the dress story. And a lot of the Chesterfield people know this. We, going on Thanksgiving up to Chicago as Adams to play in a big tournament. And, it's Thanksgiving weekend. We're up there. We're playing great. We make it to the finals, and Cody, you were on the team because your mom, Lisa, was the manager. And how do you think you got on the power play? But who do we play in the finals but Mike Sheehan's Afton Americans? we travel all the way up here to Chicago, and who do we end up playing in the finals but another St. Louis team? So at the time, we were the Chesterfield Cake Eaters. That's what they thought we were. And we kind of thought them as Afton, rednecks, dump truck drivers, But our guys were actually scared of Afton. Afton played more of the Kelly Chase, Basil McRae hockey. Chesterfield was more of the Al McGinnis, Pierre Turgeon hockey. So I told the kids, without the parents' consent, I said, guys, time to take the dresses off and play hard and play with these guys. Don't be scared of them. They can't hit what they can't catch. And I made them a deal. I said, if we beat these guys, our next game, I will wear a dress. And we ended up, we won the game. And so, of course, Lisa went out and got like 3 dresses, came to my office. You know, Lynn, my assistant, and Lisa had me trying on these dresses. And it was just last year I threw this picture out, and I thought for sure it would surface here today. But we ended up that Saturday in Chesterfield playing the Pekin Peoria team, and they're kind of a rural redneck bunch. And all of a sudden, this guy is on the bench, and I kept putting my leg up on the bench, yelling at the kids. My boxers were showing. The parents are like, leg down, leg down. But that was a lot of fun. It's a true story. And I know today, if you did that with social media and everything, I'd be in jail. And Mike Caruso would be here taking me away. But that was a fun time. The kids loved it. Another thing I wanted to talk about was the kids that you coach. I was so fortunate. Like the parents, you know, and I kind of said, this is a dictatorship. I'm the dictator, and if you don't like it, drive to Chicago. So that was my philosophy. I know it wasn't fair, but the parents really did support me, and I thank them for that. But these kids were so mature, and it was awesome. And I remember the first time we won a big tournament was the Silver Stick, and we actually beat Steven Stamko's team, the Markham Waxers, who we lost 3 weeks before that. Bruce was drunk for 3 weeks after that. Yeah, for 2 tournaments. But this is another true story where Jeffrey was our #1 goalie and went on to New Hampshire on a scholarship. And we had another fellow called Eric Kirshner. And Eric was a really smart kid, crush. And I always had it was even, they each played a game, but I kind of had it set that Jeff had the tough game and then Eric the easier game and this and that. So we're 3-0 and we'll be in first place if we can beat Honey Baked in the 4th game. So, of course, Jeff had played 2 games, and Jeff liked his time off, too. He didn't like to play back-to-back. He was 12, you know what I mean? It was tough. So Eric had actually hurt his groin about a month before that, missed maybe a week or something, but he was doing pretty well, and I'm thinking, oh, my God, we've come this whole way. I got all the parents saying, you're not playing Crush, are you? You're not playing Crush, are you? And I'm like, yeah, it's Crush's turn. But I kind of in the back of my mind, so I asked Crush, I said, what do you think? He goes, we're playing Honey Baked. I go, yeah, we're playing Honey Baked. And he started going like this. I go, it's a groin, right? And he goes, how do you want the groin to be, Coach? And I said, okay, just play along with me. So we go in before the game. I already told Jeff, I said, Jeff, you're playing. So I go in, I go, guys, I got bad news for you. Crush has been awesome all year. Groin flared up. Crush is in the corner going like this. He goes, groin. And here's a 12-year-old kid that really, he did say to me, he goes, Coach, how do you want the groin to be? So we won that game. Crush played in the semifinals, and we ended up winning the Silver Stick. But funny story for a 12-year-old kid. And Jeff was just telling me right now that Eric is a very successful business guy. He's on the road, and he's still swinging deals now. Last story, and I have to tell one NHL story. Just because my old partner in crime, Kelly Chase, walked in here, and I asked him, I said, Kelly, can I tell this story? He goes, sure. It wasn't funny at the time, but, playing against the Detroit Red Wings and being in that old Chuck Norris division, and I actually had played with Bob Probert. And Proby, of course, was running around like crazy, and Chaser's looking at me, and I'm looking at him, and it was pretty much my turn. And he goes, listen, I've watched this guy, I figured it out. Here's what you have to do when you fight Proby. He comes out of his sweater, so just keep him, backing him up, and just keep feeding him. He goes, and then when he comes out of his sweater, just skate away behind the referee. And I'm thinking, that doesn't sound right, but it got to a point where when I seen Proby, I thought, well, I'm going to go with Chaser's plan. So that's what happened. Dropped the gloves, started giving it to Proby. Finally, he came out of his sweater, and as soon as he came out of his sweater, I just skated behind the referee. And Proby now is losing his mind. He's losing his mind so bad that he gets kicked out of the game. So everything is cool, everything's good. But that was a Thursday night. We had Detroit back in St. Louis on Saturday. And I said to Chaser, Chaser, plan A is good, but did you ever think of plan B? He goes, no plan B, bud. You got him again Saturday, so. Yeah. Be quite honest with you, I think Chaser said, you handle them on Thursday, I'll take them on Saturday. And that was the type of guy Kelly Chase was, so. So that's pretty much about it. Again, thank you very much, Scott. Thank you, everyone. And it was a blast. It was a lot of fun. Sorry, Scotty, about the chicken wings. There was no chicken wings. Scott, Rob, can you work on chicken wings next year? Okay. Thanks again, everyone, and I appreciate being here, and it's quite an honor.
When you guys are done, head that way, and they'll present you with a plaque and your actually really nice St. Louis Amateur Hockey Hall of Fame ring. One of the neat aspects of that. Good news, Basil. I timed that dead on 7 minutes. We're on target.